Hey you guys, and welcome in to Tom's Interesting Talk. My name is Tom. I don't know if I'm interesting, but we're going to find out. So today we're going to talk about this fish tank. This is my fish tank that I've had for probably the last 5 years. It's a all live planted fish tank. It's a biological system. I don't have any mechanical filters whatsoever in it, so it all runs on its own biology basically, created by, of course, the sponge filters. I like to say that this tank is very easy to take care of, and I'll kind of go over why it's easy to take care of. I'm going to talk today about the fish that I have in here, the different breeds, some of their breeding habits. I'm also going to talk about, a live planted tank in comparison to a plastic tank, where you're running plastic flowers. And I'm just going to, in general, let you guys go on a little journey through my fish tank, setting it up as I've matured and as its ebb and flow throughout the years of what it's become now in comparison to where it was. But here we go. Let's talk about it. I want to start off by talking about the fact that this fish tank of mine is planted. There's no plastic plants in here. There's no, plastic anything really, except for the sponge filters and like my heater back there. But that's a real conch shell, has different kinds of stone in here, little piece of sandstone, some quartz, a few little glass pieces that we found over the years, and then quite a few pieces of driftwood. And I like to have all these different kinds of things in this fish tank because the driftwood will help with pH. The tannins from the wood itself will help lower the pH. Sandstone will help lower the pH. It's all good for the whole biological system. So what I've created is a functioning substrate. And that's due to not really vacuuming this tank too much. I have enough catfish, bottom feeders, and then I've allowed my plants to really establish themselves root-wise in this substrate. Now don't get me wrong, this didn't happen overnight. I didn't just create a substrate. No, it took time. It took time to do this. Of course, in the beginning, you are going to have to vacuum your tank. Of course, in the beginning, you are going to have to keep your tank clean until all these biological processes take over. It does take time. I think in the beginning, a tank is much, much harder than it is after you've let it establish. It's a lot more forgiving. Cleanliness wise. If you start testing the water, this tank will tend to run just a bit high in nitrates. But if you test the ammonia levels, perfect. If you test the nitrite levels, absolutely white. But because of all the organic matter in this, and a little bit heavier waste load, the nitrates will tend to be on just the slight pinkish side, which in my experience, is a little higher than you want, but it really doesn't affect the fish, and I think the overall environment is correct. It's 5 or 6 years old, and fully established. I maybe only vacuum this tank once every couple months, a few months, and then I just make sure and keep the filters changed. Then I usually rotate those out. I'll do 2 filters every couple weeks, and so forth and so on. You know, to make sure that the biologicals don't fall off. Because the minute your bacteria isn't doing its job, that's when your nitrates go up and your nitrites go up, and you have ammonia problems, and you start losing fish, and it's just a problem in general. So you got to make sure everything stays established. This tank also, I'm an avid grower, so I have multiple house plants. I have 3 different tents that I'm growing different growing environments, and I'm growing different things in. And I use this as like a full cycle of life kind of thing. So all my tank water is basically used for watering all my plants in my house. And I'm trying to justify my own heart. You know, I live in Arizona of all places, and I have a 155-gallon fish tank of all places. It's hard for me to justify, but I do my best by trying to use and reuse and sustain by using this water that comes out of this fish tank to feed my plants. It's a neat process, I think, and it's not that hard. I mean, really and truly. And these fish, you know, I have this fish tank set up as a centerpiece in my house. I don't know if you can notice, but it's set on 2 layers of cinder block, and it's basically at couch viewing height. I've grown up with fish tanks off and on my whole life, and you know, I've always see them set up higher, and you know, most fish stands are made for the fish tank being up higher off the ground, and I've always found those really hard to clean and maintain. And if you've ever had a fish tank for any amount of time, understand the cleaning and the maintaining of it and the maintenance of it is going to be a thorn in your side at some point down the road where you just don't want to do it. And let's just be honest, we're procrastinators by nature. You know, you want to see the pretty, beautiful fish swimming around in your tank, but who wants to actually do the work and keep it all clean? And that's why, in some ways, I've kind of went with this sort of system. You know, I've learned over the years, you know, I've had an underground biological system where, you know, you create a biological gook, so to speak, that you filter all of your water through, and it does the job of these, you know, mechanical filters and all that stuff, and you basically pull all that stuff through your substrate, and you run a biological system like that. I've done that system before, and I've also ran a mechanical system where you're running your mechanical filters and you're running through biological bags and carbon and all the things you'd use to filter your water through a mechanical system. And then now I've come to this system where I'm running a sponge filter system. Now, sponges don't work for every breed of fish. I've made it work in this tank because this is just how I want to run it. To me, it's easier. To me, it does a really good job. Sponge filters really scrub the water quite well when they're cleaned and maintained correctly. And I've had good luck with this, creating this whole system in here. Again, it's a 155-gallon tank. I have 5 sponge filters in here. And I think they're anywhere from 75 gallons to 150 gallons per minute or something like that, or per hour. Sorry, I'm not a total scientist, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you perfect facts on all these fish and the things I'm telling you. I'm just going to give you basic knowledge on this tank and how I'm doing it and how I see it. If you can see in this tank, I have angelfish. I have a few different grammies. Some of my new additions are the guppies. And then I also have a whole host of neon tetras, glow tetras, black skirted tetras, and then I have a school of giant dinos in here. And then quite a few catfish, 2 albino bristlenose suckerfish, and 6 or 7 Julii catfish, and then an albino cory and another cory of sorts. Anyway, quite a few catfish. I love catfish, and we'll talk about them here for just a minute. The Julii catfish are really, really fun to watch. You're just looking down on the bottom, and you can see them. They like to swim around in a group. And I want to talk about their breeding habits. Their breeding habits are really, really neat. See, I love fish. I like to watch fish. I like to sit and, see how they interact and, watch their breeding habits, watch all the little idiosyncrasies that they do throughout their day. I find it to be just fascinating and, quite honest, find it to be relaxing. It's something I use to unwind after a long day's work. I come home and even if I just sit in front of the tank for a half hour and watch my fish for a little bit, brings my heart rate down, gets my thoughts focused, allows me to maybe finish some of those initial thoughts that I had from work, and refocus my mind to be at home, shut off the work part of me, but watching my fish for 20 or 30 minutes and relax, bring my heart rate down, and then engage with my family. I find that to be a very good thing. That's the 50 years that I've been alive. It's one of those things that helps me just stay in the moment with my family and not too much of a turnaround time for unwinding from work. Because work can be stressful. We all have work stress, traffic stress. Oh my God, I live in Phoenix, and try driving down the I-10 at 5 o'clock. Doesn't matter which way you're going, east or west. It's terrible, and you're basically taking your life in your hands every single day you drive that. So to be able to come home after driving stress, traffic stress, work stress, bus stress, depending on how you're getting back and forth to work, come home, flip your lights on, and sit down and watch your fish swim around for 20 or 30 minutes is a good thing, to me anyway. And I hope you guys enjoy it too, because I'm going to put out a few different videos of these fish swimming around, and I hope maybe you'll do that on YouTube. You'll come home and click on a YouTube video and just watch these guys swim around for a little bit, listen to the bubbly sounds in the background, those kind of things, and just unwind and be peaceful in this peaceful environment. So the Julii catfish are really, really neat. They're smaller of the cory family, and they have lots of really fine little black spots on them, and they're more of a silvery catfish. And I think I have 6 or 7 of them in here, and they swim around in little groups, 2, 3, 4. Hardly ever do you just see them by themselves, and they're very engaging in their little group. Well, what's neat as all get up is their breeding that they do. I can tell you, anytime you add new water to this thing, and or do anything as far as like changing the heat, warm things up a little bit, man, these guys go crazy as far as breeding. They have this little dance where they get together, basically side by side, and they vibrate on each other, so to speak. And basically they're fertilizing and producing an egg as they do this little dance. And it is about the neatest little thing, because they'll like float around in circles in all different directions as they vibrate together. And I find it to be quite fascinating. And then they produce one little egg. Bink! It's funny. It's fun to watch. A lot of the times, unfortunately, it's just fish food, but because in this sort of environment, in this sort of tank, very few of those fertilized eggs make it. I also want to go over my new additions, which are my guppies. The guppies I love my little guppies. They're fun. They're kind of free form swimmers. They kind of swim up and down and mid-level, top, bottom. They eat algae off the plants, and they're very colorful and beautiful, and they're my only live bearers in this tank currently. Every other breed I have in here are egg layers, and we'll go over that a little bit as we go along. But the guppies are my live bearers, and I have about 15 or 17 of them that if you watch, you'll see them all swim around where you can see them. They're kind of all over the tank, so you got to really kind of look. But they're very beautiful, and I love them. And you'll see them different times of the day. They'll all group up together, and I tell you, it's a sight. I don't know if you're going to see it in this video, but if you watch this long enough, I'm sure they will come together. They always do. Probably the pride and the joy of this tank is going to be the angelfish. So I have 3 different angelfish in here. One's a marble angel. One's a blue striped tiger angel. And then the one back there in the back that has the black and the silver, God, I'm just not sure. Maybe part of the marble angel family. Honestly, just not real sure on that one. But I have 2 males and 1 female in here currently. And if you see the 2 that are currently on the right-hand side of the tank, the blue striped tiger angel, and then we'll just call it a marble angel with the silver and the black. Those 2 are a mated pair. But I can tell you though, these guys kind of all hang out together. Angels they fight. They nip at each other. They go back and forth. They're very graceful about what they do, but they're also very nitpicky. They like the other angelfish to act a certain way around them, so to speak. It's kind of funny to watch. Very fun to watch too, because they are super graceful, and everything they do looks like they're a princess or a prince. They walk very gracefully or swim very gracefully. Like I said, the 2 are a mated pair. They have done the dance a few times, so to speak. Angelfish will find something to lay eggs on, like that conch shell back there. Sometimes on the leaves of the plants, sometimes on the side of the fish tank. When they go into their breeding cycle, they'll spend a few days, looking and searching for that area, and then they'll prep the area by picking at it and trying to clean it and get it ready. And then they'll start protecting the area as well. And they'll start pushing the other fish out of this area so that they can do their process without being interrupted, so to speak. So it's kind of a cool process to watch. I have bred angelfish in the past. I had 2 fully mature yellow angels, and they were gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous angels. It's quite the process, though. It's hard. You have a lot of loss with them, and it's hard to do. So I don't do it anymore. This is more for fun and just my viewing pleasure. And cycle of life, so to speak. Cycle of life. So they lay eggs, and then those eggs end up becoming fish food. which is okay. You know, everybody needs a little sushi in their life. But they're very graceful, very fun to watch. And the three that I have in there now tend to interact pretty well together. You know, the three of them will swim in unison across the tank quite a few times throughout the day. And those displays just make even the grumpiest of fish enthusiasts to say, "Ah." But I think we're going to wrap this video up today. I just wanted to talk to you for a little bit about this tank, this environment, and give you a few hints, tips, and tricks maybe on how you might want to age your tank gracefully and be able to maintain it into the future and for a long time. Hey you guys, again, my name's Tom, and if you like this video, please like it, subscribe. I will have more to come. Thanks everybody. Have a great day.